Yo, what is going on, yo? V-Rob here. Today we'll be going on, as you guys can see by the title of this video, I'll be giving you guys my 2019-2020 NBA season preview for, I hate to say it, the Los Angeles Clippers. Obviously, the Los Angeles Clippers have been the talk of the summer. Acquiring Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, this team has such high expectations going into this season. I'm expecting a lot from this team. Without further ado, guys, let's break it down. Let's start with the 2018-19 season and see what they did there. Let's go, y'all. This is the 2019-2020 LA Clippers. So starting off with last season, the LA Clippers were 8th in the Western Conference with a record of 48-34. This was honestly an amazing year for the Clippers. If you look at the standings predictions, all the previews from last season, everyone, and I mean everyone, projected this team to be a bottom 5, 6 seed in the Western Conference. They expected this team to go absolutely nowhere. At the time, their best player was Tobias Harris, and even with the all-star of Tobias Harris, in my opinion, he is one, they were still not able to pass the expectations of reaching the playoffs. They had an unbelievable season, doubting the haters, proving the haters wrong. Even me, I did not expect this team to do anything. Behind the help of Lou Williams, Montrezl Harrell, and the rest of the squad, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander year, they finished 8th in the Western Conference. Going into the playoffs, they played the Golden State Warriors in a very high physical, emotional series. This series went 6 games. They lost in 6 games to the Golden State Warriors, and Kevin Durant dropping 50 points in Game 5. We have to remember this, though. The Clippers won, not one, but 2 games in Oracle. They came back down from more than 30. They came back down from 31 points, y'all, and beat the Warriors on the road in Oracle. This was the first time the Warriors have lost 2 games at home in a playoff series since the 2016 NBA Finals against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Going into the playoffs, I thought this was an easy 4-0 sweep. I was looking at the playoff bracket, I was like, alright, this is a 4-0 sweep. I mean, this team holds no contest against the Warriors. Because of physicality, because of Patrick Beverley, because of the likes of Lou Will in a late game situation, because of Shamet stepping up, because of Montrezl Harrell stepping up, because of Danilo Gallinari stepping up, this team won 2 games on the road in Oracle, and I was beyond impressed on how this team responded to the hate, responded to the criticism, responded to the doubters, and they played Golden State very well. Obviously, the Warriors went on to the NBA Finals and lost in 6 games to the Toronto Raptors, but they were injured. They were without Kawhi or Kevin Durant. They were playing the Golden State Warriors, the LA Clippers, with a fully healthy team, with the DeMarcus Cousins, with the Kevin Durant, and they still won 6 games with them. That is beyond impressive, y'all. Let's talk about this offseason. So starting off with notable players they did lose to the Oklahoma City Thunder. First off, Danilo Gallinari, who gave you 20 points a night, along with 6 rebounds and 3 assists. One of the best scoring forwards in the league. Reminds me a lot of Bojan Bogdanovic. Could have been an all-star last year, especially in the Eastern Conference. They also lost Shai Gilgeous-Alexander after his rookie year out of Kentucky. He had a very solid season. In my opinion, he could turn out to be a solid guard in this league. Maybe like a Rondo, maybe like a Jamal Murray plus caliber type player, meaning from a talent perspective. Obviously, Rondo and Jamal Murray are 2 totally different players. But I don't see Gilgeous-Alexander becoming an all-star anytime soon. But someone that can give you around 17 points a night on a consistent basis and being a solid starting point guard in the NBA, I can definitely see that in his future. Now we got to talk about notable players they did gain. Fam, this hurts me.
Truth is, I'm tired. Options are...
We'll start off with Paul George. Paul George last season had, in my opinion, the best year of his career, giving you 28, 8, and 4 per night while shooting 44% from the field and 39% from 3. Paul George, before he injured his shoulder in late February, in my opinion, he should have won MVP. The Oklahoma City Thunder were competing for a top 4 seed in the Western Conference. He was the #1 scoring option on that team right in front of Russell Westbrook. This was the best year he ever had of his career. After the shoulder injury, you could definitely tell he was off a little bit. You could definitely tell he was not the same Paul George. And in my opinion, in that span in February when he was averaging 35 points a night in a 2-week span, he was the best player in basketball. He should have won the MVP over Giannis, over James Harden, if the season ended in late February. Obviously, he did come back a few weeks later to finish the regular season in March and April, but he just was not the same. Going into the playoffs, he did not play that well against the Portland Trailblazers in late game situations. But like I said, you guys, when Paul George was healthy, this man, in my opinion, should have won MVP. He did have shoulder surgery in late May of earlier this year, so it's going to be interesting to see how this man comes back from post-surgery. He's expected to miss about the first 3 weeks of the season, so he'll return around November 15th or 16th, which will probably be, I want to say, 15 or 16 games in. So he's not going to miss that much time, but in my opinion, you guys, I would watch out for Paul George once again this year. The dude is right in the middle of his prime. Now, if you guys follow me on Twitter, you know this next person, Kawhi Leonard. I stayed up 4 days straight waiting for this man to sign with the Lakers, play the clown music, show the clips. I took the L on this one.
Fam, look how sad this is, y'all. This is what I've been doing since about 9 o'clock this morning since I got up. Just checking Twitter, refreshing. I'm on the aircraft website for Kawhi's flight. This is a state map of California. Kawhi should make a decision, bro. This is affecting my life way too much. And I know it affects Kawhi's life a lot more, and we should respect that. But I'm definitely making this too much part of my life because this has been my life the past 5 days.
But instead of talking about Kawhi Leonard's regular season stats, we're going to talk about his playoff run he had with the Toronto Raptors. In my opinion, this was one of the best playoff runs of all time. Looking at his numbers, Kawhi Leonard finished with 31 points per game, 9 rebounds, and 4 assists while shooting 49% from the field. We saw what Kawhi Leonard did with this team round by round against the Orlando Magic, the Philadelphia 76ers when he hit one of the greatest shots of all time, the Toronto Raptors, the Milwaukee Bucks, and then the Golden State Warriors dynasty. This man brought so much parity back to the NBA. Just beating this Warriors team had a ripple effect throughout the entire league. And then going to the LA Clippers. Obviously, I did want him to go to the LA Lakers, which it still does hurt me that he did not choose to go there. But they still got a very solid team. But my point is, Kawhi Leonard is in the center of his prime right now. In my opinion, he is right behind LeBron James. I'm not going to say right behind, but he is number 2 on my list for the best players in the NBA. Looking at this as a whole, getting those 2 players, re-signing Patrick Beverley and a few other players from the squad last year, you have to give their offseason grade, as much as I hate to say it, as an A+. Now looking at lineups for this team, we're going to start off with my projected 2020 starting lineup. And we're going to start off with the backcourt of Patrick Beverley and Landry Shamet. Now, these 2 right here, in my opinion, might be one of the best backcourts in the league from a defensive perspective. Obviously, Patrick Beverley is only 6'1", but you have to look at the perspective of what he did last year. He is willing to guard even Kevin Durant, a damn near 7-foot wing player who's one of the best scorers of all time. Landry Shamet, a very young player who can score the basketball, a very solid mid-range shot, is also a very scrappy defender. Now going on to the front court, you have Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, and Zubac, who was on the on the Lakers last year, who I am still so upset at Magic and Rob Pelinka for trading this man to the Clippers. Like, it was just such a bad trade as a whole. But you look at that team right there, obviously the number one thing that stands out, defense. This team has the potential to be the number 1 team defensive-wise in the NBA. Also a flaw, though, height. There is no player throughout the entire roster besides Zubac over 6'10". But you look at this starting lineup, they're going to be very tough to defend with Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And from a defensive standpoint, they can guard any single lineup in the NBA. If a team has a depth lineup, they can match up with them. If a team has a small lineup, they can match up with them. If a team has a big lineup, they can somewhat match with them. I mean, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard's defensive abilities makes up for any height difference that they are guarding, depending on who the player is. I mean, if they're guarding Anthony Davis, AD is going to drop 30, but, you know. Now going on to the bench, obviously they do have Lou Will coming back. Lou Will, who won 6th Man of the Year last year, giving you 20 points a night. He is making a return back to the Clippers, as well as Montrezl Harrell, also coming back, or also joining the team, Maurice Harkless, and JaMychal Green. But looking at Lou Will giving you 20 points per game last year, and also Montrezl Harrell giving you 17 and 7 per night. Those were 2 of the top 4 scorers off the bench last season, so both were in top 4 points per game scoring for bench players in the NBA. Both were finalists for 6th Man of the Year. Those 2, along with Sabonis from the Indiana Pacers. That bench lineup looks so deadly, and you look at that starting lineup along with the bench lineup, their 9-man rotation right there alone is one of the deepest in the NBA. You're looking at a depth lineup then of possibly Patrick Beverley, Lou Williams, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and Montrezl Harrell. That right there is their best lineup. I expect them to run that lineup in late game situations or maybe throughout the entire fourth quarter. That is going to be a very deadly lineup. But like I said, a definite pro of their lineup and all the players they got, defense and scoring. One flaw is the height problem. I don't know how they're going to match up against the Lakers when the Lakers go big with Kuzma, AD, JaVale McGee, LeBron, and Avery Bradley all in the same lineup. But as a whole, it is going to be such a deadly team in a lineup. What to watch for this season? Number one, are they the best defensive team in the league? Obviously, with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, those two right there, two of the best wing defenders in the league. You also add to that Patrick Beverley, who is a dog on defense despite his height. This team has potential to be the number one defensive ranked team in the NBA. Contenders up with them, obviously the Rockets, obviously the Sixers, obviously the Bucks. Dark horse, in my opinion, could also be the Portland Trailblazers, but we'll just see about that. But that's definitely number one thing to watch for this season. Number two is Kawhi's load management. Obviously, Kawhi Leonard last year did not even play over 65 games. He did miss a lot of games because of rest. Will they be able to do that this year? Obviously, with Paul George not playing the first 16 games of this upcoming season, will Kawhi Leonard have to play all those games? And then with the competition in the Western Conference as compared to the Eastern Conference last year with the Toronto Raptors, will Kawhi Leonard be able to get the amount of rest that he needs or the amount of rest that he did have last year with the Toronto Raptors? Number three is the rivalry with the Los Angeles Lakers. Obviously, you guys have heard me talk about the Lakers a lot this video, but obviously these two teams are the two box office teams going into the season. Everyone wants to see opening night. Everyone wants to see Christmas Day. Everyone wants to see these two teams play each other in the playoffs. I want to see how this rivalry builds up. There's been this huge report that when the news broke of Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both coming to LA, Patrick Beverley, he was in the same arena as LeBron James for a summer league game. He ran into LeBron's private room and basically taunted LeBron about it. So there is definitely beef, there's definitely tension in between these two teams, and I'm just beyond excited to see this, y'all. And number four, I want to see Kawhi trying to repeat his performance that he did last year in the playoffs. Like I said, it was one of the most historic moments in NBA history. Seeing what he did for the city of Toronto, bringing them their first NBA championship, bringing players that have never even gotten close to that standpoint. Marc Gasol never made it to the conference finals. Kyle Lowry never made it to the NBA finals. Pascal Siakam never been to the NBA finals. I can go down and down the line. Serge Ibaka hasn't been to the NBA finals since 2012. There are so many players on this team that have never been able to reach that goal, and Kawhi Leonard gave them that boost to get into that position. Can he do the same thing with this team? Can he take Paul George to his first ever NBA finals? Can he take Lou Williams to his first ever conference finals? Can he take Patrick Beverley to his first ever conference finals? These are so many things that I want to see, and I want to see if we can repeat. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for my expectations for this team. In my opinion, starting off with the regular season, I expect this team to be the second highest overall seed in the Western Conference, right behind the Houston Rockets. I feel this team, from a regular season perspective, will be very hard to go against every single night. This team right here has a lot of depth. They have Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell, who combined for 37 points last year off the bench. Still coming off the bench. You also add Paul George and Kawhi Leonard to the equation of how deep this team was last year and how physical they were defensively. You also have the likes of Doc Rivers and your coaching staff. I am so just in shock of how good this team can possibly be. They also have Ty Lue on the coaching staff. I think down the road, you will see this team be very well prepared for late game situations as well, with Kawhi Leonard being the way. Now going into the playoffs, they will be the number 2 seed in my opinion. I think they will match up with the Golden State Warriors, who I think is everyone's least favorite matchup on who they want to play as a bottom tier seed in the Western Conference or throughout all of the playoff seeds. I expect this team to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Play the LA Lakers. LA versus LA. I have the Los Angeles Lakers beating the Clippers in a 7-game series, but you have to look at it from this perspective. In my opinion, these are the two best teams in basketball. These two teams, in my opinion, will meet in late May for the Western Conference Finals. Whoever wins that series will go on to win the NBA championship. I feel it is between these two teams on who will win the finals this year. So, if the Clippers somehow beat the Lakers and LeBron James, I have them winning the championship. Whoever comes out of the West will win the finals this year, y'all. But that will do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you guys are new. Thank you so much for the support. Cannot thank you all enough. Stay blessed. All love 2019. Make sure to comment down where you think the Clippers are going this season. Like I said, they are the second best team in the league, in my opinion, right behind the Lakers. Thank you guys so much for the support. Cannot thank y'all enough. NBA season is right about the corner. Be right back to sing, y'all. Peace. Let's get it. Let's go, baby.